I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. I would like to thank you so much for joining me this evening. All right, we are pushing the 8:30 hour. Yikes. I told myself that if it wasn't done by 8:30, I wouldn't post after 8:30 for the most part, but vacation does start on Friday, so I'm going to break the rules just a little bit here, okay? So let's take a look at a Dave Ramsey show. I make $175,000. I can't get my wife on board with money. Let me go ahead and take this down. I would like to thank you for being here with me this evening. Okay, you guys, let's hear what this story is about.
Mario's going to start us off this hour, and he
Hello,
is
Mario.
in Atlanta. Hey, Mario, how are you?
I'm doing better than I deserve, as you would say, Dave. I'm doing great. Glad to be on the show.
We're honored to have you, sir. How can we help?
So the big point is I'm fairly new. I'm not new to you, but fairly new to the show, and I'm really on fire and on board about just becoming financially free, debt free. The teachings that you and your team teach are phenomenal. And my big question is, I want to know the best way to get my wife on board with implementing some of the drastic changes that we would need to make in order to get to that point. I make a pretty good, I have a strong income. I know all of our debt areas. I know the areas that, where I feel like we're, spending too much or overindulging, but I know that I'm going to get some resistance with the changes that we're going to need to make in order to get to where I know that we can get to.
Man, who is this guy? Okay, that's somebody I wouldn't mind, knowing personally. He's got it together. I mean, this is what you need in a partner, right? If you want to get out of debt, this is the type of person you need. I don't want to bring up past relationships and name, okay, because that's not important. But I will say, in a past relationship of mine, all right, we were not on the same page financially, and I'll share more about that later. But it's very difficult to get somebody on the same page if their personality or their personality makeup is just not the same as yours. In other words, they simply view money differently, which is why so many divorces are caused over money. If we could change a partner's view about money to what we want, then we wouldn't have divorces over money, right? That wouldn't be, I think, one of, if not the number one cause of divorce. If we could get someone to see money the way we want to see it, whatever way that is that we want them to see it as.
Give me an example of one of the changes that you think you need to make that you think you're going to get resistance on.
Some areas of convenience, like going out to eat a lot, or ordering food.
How much debt have you got?
A lot of.
Those conveniences, that's totally reasonable. Okay, honey, we need to eat a little less. Maybe cut down on the food budget, cook more at home. I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes cooking for one is really expensive. Cooking for one, eating out for one, it's just expensive when it's just you. And so sometimes to cut down on some of the bills, guess what? The frozen food section at Costco, when I want to make shrimp and I just need 6 pieces of shrimp, I actually made myself 6 pieces of shrimp once. That was like between the grocery store, making up the cleanup. That was like an hour worth of work to make 6 pieces of coconut shrimp when I can go to Costco or, even the expensive fresh market, okay, at $1 each. I have to weigh the cost of that. But what I'm hearing him talk about, there's nothing unreasonable in cutting down the food budget, eating out less. Very reasonable.
Including house?
No, not including house.
Okay. Credit card debt, I'm at about $15,000. Credit card debt. Student loans total around $75,000.
I would like to have heard way less, but again, he makes $175,000. But as we all know, it's not what you make; it's what you keep.
And I have one car that's not. I have one car that's not completely paid off, and I think we owe $12,000 on that car.
And what's your household income?
175.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's a great income. So Mario, what's your
I knew it was 175 because it says I make 175.
what's causing you to believe that she's going to have a hard time with all of this? Is it?
I'll predict what it is. It's because they've never actually been on the same page financially, and they've managed to get their relationship this far or thus far for whatever reason or another. Because if they were on the same page financially and they'd always been on the same page financially, there would be no reason for him to call into the Dave Ramsey show now, would there? So I think what this is telling me is he's had awakening and he's going, you know what? We're going to be sinking ourselves if we don't stop. All right. And this doesn't include the house. So maybe they bought too much house also. I mean, if you say, hey, I'm sitting on $1 million home, on $175,000 income, that might be a bit tight.
Comments she's made? Is it something that in your head you just know her and you know what's going to be coming? Has she given you clues on it? Like, I want to know.
Oh yeah.
I have proof.
So yeah.
Yeah. When you get to this point, I've been in enough relationships to know you don't really need to be with a person a long time to kind of get an idea how they view money. You really don't. I don't need to. I've been in enough relationships. I don't need to spend years with you to find out what do you think of money? How do you feel about me shopping at Marshall's versus Macy's? Okay. They clearly, if I were a betting person, okay, they haven't been on the same page with money if ever. It's just they've been able to make it work because, it takes a while to build up debt, at least for most of us. It's not like we just wake up one day and all of a sudden we have this massive amount of debt or out of control debt. It takes a while. And during that build up phase, it's really easy to deal with because we're still not over our head yet. Okay. But then as the debt gets higher and higher and you start looking at your income and your income's getting further back, your income's starting to lag behind the debt load that you see yourself carrying. That's, to me, that becomes a problem. And it's why it takes a while to show what both sides really think of debt. Because not all couples necessarily come into a relationship with all the debt. Okay? But they may come in on a zero or near zero slate. Over time, that debt grows, it builds cars, houses, yada, yada, yada. And then pretty soon one person goes, okay, we're getting out of control. But it can take years to build up to that. And then you find out what you each really think about money.
Yeah, absolutely. A comment she's made. There's other things that I've
so why
implemented.
So then for her and
I want to know what the comments are that she's made.
These conversations, what are her hesitations?
So, a lot of it has to do with our kids.
Okay.
So like for instance, I'll say, okay, hey, we've completely paid off this particular credit card. We're not going to use it. We're going to put it up. Interest rate is high on this thing. It doesn't make sense in paying somebody to borrow from my future self. I do all of that. And she's like, great, sounds good. But then time will go on and I'll see charges on the credit card. And then when I say, hey, what happened here? Why did this take place? And it was like, oh, well, I had to do this. I had to make this decision and do this. And,
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, these things,
And
come up. Like I said, a lot of times it's with the girls.
Yes.
Well, of course. The girls want to spend. They want their massages. They want their hair. They want their nails and everything that they, what is really a want, they say it's a need when it's really just a want. Kids can be a great excuse for people to spend money that they don't have. Just say it's for the kids.
My kids.
Sure. And it's life, right? Because you guys have not put systems in place for life to look different. So you're still keeping the credit card. We're going to put this credit card over here. We shouldn't touch it, but it's still there. Get rid of it. Do you guys have a written budget that you have together, sharing an account, saying, hey,
Yep.
here's the line item for the kids. This is what we're going to spend on the kids. Here's the line item for you, me, food, out to eat, clothes. Here's where every single dollar this month is going.
I've done all of that.
No, have you guys
Some kind of
together?
way
No,
things will
Mario.
happen.
Have you guys together done that? Have we done that, or have you done that?
So I have done it, and I've shared it, and it's communicated. This looks good. I'm on board. Let's do it. Let's run this plan, and we'll start running the plan, and
Okay,
things will veer off.
Totally. So Mario, I also think
I'm
sure
wondering.
Ramsey has.
I'm wondering if she Now I got my opinions about this, so I'm just going to kind of hold my tongue. I wonder if she feels like the budget is being dictated to her versus actually having her have a say. I mean, if he's sitting and he's going, this is the budget, it's being dictated to her, and she doesn't feel like she has any say in it, especially with what she wants, let's say, for the kids and stuff. Okay. They do have a good income, but you can be broke on a really good income also. Okay. So that's just kind of a thought, is he dictating the budget to her, or is it a joint thing?
Has become a cuss word in your house because a little bit of me, I'm fearful that you're using this against her, because I don't believe your wife is malicious. I think she's a great mom, probably a great wife. And so these things, life is just happening to her, and she's reacting, obviously not in the way that you prefer, or that even what we would teach, right? She's going charging the credit card, all that.
And she could be trying to also be one of those, what is it? Those reality show moms that just spend money until they go bankrupt. And this family's this family on the phone, they're not above bankruptcy. Nobody is. Nobody is above bankruptcy.
Fair.
But it's not malicious. And so I think that there needs to be a higher level conversation to say, okay, you and I together as a couple, where do we want to be? What do we want life to look like in 5 years? What do we want? What is our why? Like, does she have any level of pain or stress around money? Is she worried in any way? Like, I want you guys to
yeah.
She's probably not stressed or worried about money, because I'm willing, and I would like to know if she works or not. Okay. He is the wallet. So no stress here.
Me for the most part, I am.
The weight's on you.
I don't want to have to work until I retire.
100%. Totally.
And right now, I'm the.
Listen.
She's a homemaker.
Okay, there we go. That's why I was just saying. I wonder, if she works or if she just sees him as a pocketbook. I don't know how old the kids are. Don't know how long they've been married. But if she sees him as a pocketbook, depending upon how long they've been married, he may be in this battle by himself. I mean, I know in the fairy tale world, okay, everybody has a come to Jesus moment. We sit around, we sing Kumbaya, and we're all on the same page. But in all honesty, if she's an SAHM, stay-at-home mom, and she has no respect for the money that is coming in the door by her husband who's working for it, and she's just, hey, this is just the gravy train, they have a bigger problem than the money. They have a marital problem. This could be very well deeper than just the money.
You're treating her like she's your teenage daughter.
And she could be treating him like he's just the open wallet pocketbook. And if that's how she's treating him, his desire to not work for forever may be short-lived, because he may have to. See, they can sit and they can blame each other here.
She's not a partner she's not a partner in any of this. You're just bringing the budget and laying it down, giving some instructions about a credit card, and then you're shocked that she didn't do what you told her to do.
Which tells you they haven't really ever discussed money. Like I said earlier, it's built in over time for the debt to grow. I wish I knew how long they've been together, because just like a car builds over time, and just like a car needs repairs over time. When you first get the car, you don't question it. Everything runs smoothly. It does what it's supposed to do, hopefully. Okay. But then over the time, you start to hear the first creak. Everybody ignores it, and then you hear more creaks, and then pretty soon the wheels fall off. And then you're like, oh, geez, now I think we got a problem. Facetiously, okay. But it's the same situation here. I'm willing to bet this is an area they haven't communicated much about. And depending upon how many years she's been a stay-at-home mom, don't ask her to go to work to help pay the bills, especially if she is of the attitude that she is entitled to stay home. The word entitlement is going to be a big factor, as far as I can see, and how well this problem is going to be solved. Now, if he's got the type of woman that says, hey, you know what, honey, you are absolutely right. We got to buckle this down. Kids, everybody's pitching in. You're going to get your 3 squares a day. Don't worry. But, mommy and daddy have goals that we need to knock out. Okay. That's the type of woman he needs. It may not be the type of woman he married.
She's not a partner. Rachel's right. You need to get above this, and the two of you need to sit down with the kids away or the kids in bed. And
the kids away. Yes.
say, we have $102,000 in debt. We make $175,000. That makes us stupid people. We need to change some stuff here. We're broke and we make $175,000 a year. We have got to, as a couple, aim at something bigger than kids' clothes.
And if you want to give it a perspective, okay, I'm recently out of debt, okay, just a few months ago, like September, okay. I make in the mid 60s and I save 30% into retirement. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And like I said, nobody is above bankruptcy. This family is not above bankruptcy. If you have a spendthrift on one hand that just keeps going and going and going and doesn't see the damage or doesn't want to acknowledge the damage, doesn't view, the growing bill as a problem. There are women out there, I'm sure there are men out there too, but there are women out there that will literally tell a guy, my job is to spend, your job is to figure out how to make the money, and don't question the woman. So this is why, with my stool here, I apologize. This is why when Ramsey gets kind of hard on the men, I kind of cringe a little, because there are plenty of women out there that don't give a crap. Okay. And I'm not blaming the stay-at-home moms, all right? They can be stay-at-home moms. They can be working women. It doesn't matter, okay? But if she is a stay-at-home mom, and if she's been a stay-at-home mom for a very long time, I don't know how long, because we don't have any idea as to how old the kids are, how long, they've been married or anything else. But her feelings about words such as entitlement, privilege, okay, the ability to even afford to be a stay-at-home mom, you might have to say to her, honey, if we don't fix this, guess what? You're not going to be an SAHM much longer. We're going to need your help at least for a while to get this bill paid off. And if you present that to her and she totally blows, up in the air about it, that tells you the type of woman you just married. Or not just married, or the type of woman you've been married to. It's easy when you're in a relationship and everything's going great to go, I'm married to the most wonderful person ever. You really don't know who you're married to till the crap hits the fan. And you really have a problem, and you really have a situation, and you need it to be solved, and you need it solved as soon as possible. Okay? It's when times get difficult and rough, then you'll actually find out who you really married. Okay? Did you marry someone who can roll up their sleeves, get down in the dirt with you? Okay, and solve the problem? Or did you perhaps marry somebody that says, hey, you know what, you solve it, it's not my problem. I got money I need to spend on the kids. You go solve it. And that could very well be the type of wife he has. And if that is the type of wife he has, he's in trouble.
Lord Jesus.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and so we've got to have a big plan that we're going at. Now, honey.
But to have these plans, you need a partner that will plan with you. And it doesn't matter if it's a stay-at-home partner or a double income family. It makes no difference. It's the mentality of the partner that you're married to. It's not whether they're stay-at-home or whether you both work. It's the mentality. You can be in a marriage with two people who work, and one thinks that, their job is to spend. Your job is to, figure out how to catch it all up and make the bills work. It's the mentality of the person you're married to, not what they do, whether they do it at home, remotely, in an office. That makes no difference.
And he feels that.
I know. But this is him and his wife talking, okay?
Yes.
We have to get on the same page. I do not want to be your daddy. I don't want to be your daddy. I want to be your husband. And I need like a grown woman.
And he may have found that he did not marry a grown woman. I'm playing devil's advocate because I've been in this situation. He may have found that he didn't marry a woman that's going to roll up her sleeves, because right now I would tell you she needs to go and get a job till this debt gets down. That's what she needs to do. She needs to start working. And he hasn't said anything about her working. He said she's a stay-at-home mom. And we can sit and we can say, okay, $175,000 is a good income. Yeah, it is a good income. Unless, especially when one person is earning it, but now you got to take that income, you got to divide it by two, and then you got to assume that one of those people is spending it all of a sudden, excuse me, it puts the income a little bit different of a light. But it's still a very good income, even between two people. but that income can be blown.
Beside me, helping me make decisions about our future.
And she needs an input in all of that,
and then she
too.
gets input.
I agree. She should definitely have input, no doubt. I agree. She should not be treated like, since you're not bringing in the money, you don't get a say. I am absolutely against that. If it's going to be a partnership, okay, one brings in the other money, the other staying home, take care of the kids, yada yada. Okay, at least that's supposed to be the plan. Okay, she should definitely have an input. If he's just the one figuring out the money, and then all of a sudden, I will give her the benefit of the doubt on that, and all of a sudden says, hey, guess what, your life is going to be turned totally upside down while we get out of debt. Okay, that can be a bit of a surprise. However, once it's been brought to her attention, we have a financial problem. They do need to, the two of them, away from the kids, just like Ramsey said, they need to sit down together and figure it out. He's going to find out a lot about the type of person he married based on how she responds to the idea of sit down together, lay out the budget, acknowledge the debt, and tackle the debt. He's going to get a really good idea. There's a saying that when I got divorced, I read an article once and it said, if you want to know what type of person you were married to, look at how they act when you get divorced. Yeah. If you want to know the type of person you married, look at how that person acts when you get divorced. That will give you a good idea of the type of individual you married. Well, you could take that same comment and you could look at it even in a current relationship, even if it's not under a divorce. If you want to know the type of person you married, when things get rough, when a problem, when a crisis hits, look at how that person responds. Do they respond to the emergency with you, or do they respond to that emergency against you?
She gets to say.
And then, by God, when she gives input, it's a contract.
Yes. Yes.
But she has no reason.
Wow.
She has no contract with you now because you dictated it to her and walked away, and then were shocked that she went and bought kids' clothes on a credit card.
I wouldn't associate the two of those necessarily together. He makes really good money, and I suspect she's had a number of years being able to spend it any way she kind of wanted. That's just kind of my thought. And as far as the student loan bill, I think he said there was $70,000. What is it for? What's the degree? Was it for her? Just a thought.
Because she had no buy-in.
Right.
She had
You're
no
right.
buy-in. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
She didn't have a voice in this, and she has no belief in the overall vision. She was just going along with you.
Yes. And I would say this, too, just as an encouragement, Mario, that the conversations that I feel like Winston and I, the best conversations we have around money is not really even about money. It's more like, hey, let's just dream. And in 5 years, what do we want our life to look like? How old are the girls going to be? What kind of car do we want to drive?
Okay, I think we got the idea. All right. I would have liked to have known a bit more information. How long they've been married? How old are the kids? Okay. What was the student loan for? Sometimes I wish I could just interview these people myself. Then I'd get all the information I really want. On the surface, I think this is going to, over time, I think this is more than just the money. This is going to say a lot about how they each react to money. And that is something that can only be told over time. I also think they've never really discussed money. Because truly, if you've ever really discussed money and you know where you are on the page, you're each going to know that, you have, somebody has, I won't say somebody, but there's a spending issue within the household. Not by one person, but there's simply a spending issue in the household. But to be fair, he does need to make sure that she was brought into the conversation, okay? Not dictated to. Because I do disagree with that. If he just said, hey, this is the budget, you're stuck. I do disagree with that. However, he's going to get a real good test. This is a year ago. So he's in a really good test on just what, on just how each one thinks and deals with money. Because really, you only know the type of person you're really married to when you're in a crisis and you need help. And then you come and see who is there to help. I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. I'd like to thank you for joining me this Monday night. I do hope you will consider subscribing. And folks, you guys have yourselves just the most awesome Monday night. Goodbye.